Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me on a beautiful afternoon here in Los Angeles, albeit surprisingly windy today, but we're going to have an update on the Shelby GT500. Believe it or not, despite only owning this car now since PPF for about a month, it already has just shy of 6,000 miles on the clock. Of course, having driven coast to coast, the Where's Shmee US Edition Tour, kicking off in Miami, Florida, all the way here to LA in California. Now, along the way, I did get up to a little bit of fun. I did do a line lock at Hennessy, plenty of launch controls, took it through the dry lake bed in Utah, also did, well, a little bit of slidey stuff, hence the rear tyres do not exactly have all that much tread left. So we're going to be fitting a new set today. I've come out to FSE LA, we're going to be taking it into the workshop, which has some really interesting cars in it at the moment, including the GT4 version of the Mustang as well, which we can check out. We're doing alignment also ahead of some things to come, but having spent quite so much time behind the wheel, if you think about that, hundreds of miles a day, hours a day on average, I want to give you a bit of an update on what I think about the GT500 so far. This car is looking fantastic in the afternoon sunshine, the grabber line paintwork, but we're also joined by a friend, Joe, who has brought along his track pack GT500, also the satin over the top of that, and some nice carbon fibre parts. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Also this Corvette with a massive spoiler on the back. There's a Lamborghini Urus up there and some interesting things to go and see indoors as well in a moment. Let's have a quick check of the mileage, and I also want to show you what the rear tyres are looking like. We are going to have to take a better look at this car. It's got the exhaust system from Borla, which sounded awesome. We'll hear more of that, as well as checking out some of the carbon fibre, which I might want to replicate onto mine. We shall see. For the moment though, before we take this around, let's come and take a quick look at exactly how many miles it has done. Like I say, it is a lot for a carbon fibre track pack GT500. Not many of these are doing huge miles to begin with, and mine already has 5,787.3 miles. It's going to be on about 6,000 very, very soon, having collected it on 60 miles and, well, started the road trip on 300. So literally 5,500 miles driving from one side of the US to the other on a bit of a zigzag route as we made our way across. Now here in LA, so let's get it round inside. We can see how the tyres are. They're not completely destroyed, but they are too low if you want to go to a track day. Compulsory startup from the key has to be done. Doesn't sound like anything compared to that one. Normally that's pretty loud. We are now inside. This, by the way, is the 600 LT from Austin, Speed Phenom, who I've met a few times. He used to have one of these, plus some other very nice cars, 570, 650, 600, Pista, plenty more around Performante, up on the ramps. Mine is going to go up onto the lifts just here. I think we'll do the alignment over that away afterwards. Over there is the GT4 with Joe and Austin also. This does sound good. I mean, that's in the quiet. When you go into reverse, it actually quietens the valves even more than when you're going forwards. As you've just heard, that's something that I've learned as I've been getting used to this car. Obviously, it sits quite low to the ground. You can see from the wheels just here. We'll take a look at what these tyres are like, though, when we've been able to get them off. Obviously, I took the wheels off myself before when I took out the transport blocks that the car was delivered with at the back, which was less than ideal, to say the least. But thankfully, after removing those, the MagnaRide suspension has done a much better job ever since. Over here we have my new set of tyres, brand new set of Pilot Sport Cup 2s, the FP Ford Performance, 315 wide at the rear, 315/30 ZR 20 inch at the rear. But the crazy thing is the front tyres on the car are actually only a touch narrower than these at 305. Anyway, these two are going to be going on. New set, like I said, ready for what is in store for us ahead. Up it goes then, always makes these things a little bit easier. Of course, we've got the carbon wheels, have to be very delicate with those, and you can start to see that we do not exactly have all that much tread left on here. I mean, Sport Cup 2 tyres do not begin with a lot in the first place, but around here, just find where's the wear indicator. Yeah, we are on the wear indicator. Not good for a track day, that's for sure. Out come the bolts, wheel ready to be taken off, and remember I was amazed when I did this the first time how light the carbon wheels are. Yeah, not gonna get a whole lot more out of those. In fact, these are still covered in all the remains from the dry lake bed. We have a perfect demonstration here then of a brand new tyre and fairly heavily worn out tyre. You could probably just about get a bit more out of these, and of course you could completely smoke them up, but where we are at the moment, that is not appropriate, and it's better to get this done so that we're onto the new tyres and good to go as soon as possible. So that's being done on the machine. You just have to be super careful with carbon fibre wheels, but basically the process is all pretty similar. Just need the right equipment to swap the tyres over. Hey Austin, how you doing?
How you doing, dude? Good to see you.
You too, good to catch up. Congrats on your 600 LT.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. It's something completely different, but right back at you though, because that thing is sick.
So you had a 500 after your 350R, and now you have the 600 LT.
It's a different direction, different step, but no, it's really exciting. Different vibe for sure.
And you track it? You're tracking it a lot?
100%. It's getting to the point where it's going to be pretty expensive, I think, but I'm going to try to find some workarounds, but that maybe with brakes or something like that.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I know, because I've got the same problem with my 675 LT, that the carbon rotors on here, the OEM parts cost a fortune.
Yeah.
The set of carbon ceramics, well, it's like $20,000 or something
That's
stupid.
what I'm told, and that's kind of frightening, isn't it? But I guess the iron brakes, kind of like what you have in your car, that would be much more affordable for this, so I think.
Yeah.
But have you tracked yours yet?
Nope, gonna be the first time coming up.
I'm excited for you, man.
Which is going to be cool. I remember, of course, where we met before was at the media launch for that out in Las Vegas, and that was an epic drive.
Now flash forward a year and a half.
Yeah, took me a while to get one. You got yours. You took delivery of yours like over a year ago, beginning of 2020, right?
It was a all black GT500.
Yeah.
Bought on Black Friday, and then drove across country.
Perfect.
So it all worked out.
So we've both done that pretty similarly, because of course this is a month old with 6,000 miles or so.
But you got yours PPF first, so then you did it right.
No stone chips, and now the wheels are going back on with new tyres, which is perfect. Well, I hope we're going to see some of this in action at some point very soon, but epic car, and I know from driving them it's a lot of fun. Now then, carbon fibre wheel. That is not very heavy, which is quite bizarre, really.
Actually, the tyre weighs way more.
You feel like you can throw it. That's mad. Okay, now to go get a tyre back on it, because that's more important. We have a carbon wheel back in place. Now, when I took off the wheels to take out the suspension transport blocks before, a few people pointed out that I didn't use the entirely correct technique, which is why today the professionals have been having a go to get these back on. One thing you notice though here is that we do still have some of the dust and dirt from the lake bed around the wheel arches, so I might have to get this properly cleaned up with all of the wheels removed again at some point in time. We've got the locking nuts back in, everything torqued back up, will be retorqued when it's back down on the ground and all ready and set on this side. Always sounded a bit weak starting up there, but this wheel is now back on, everything is torqued up correctly, 150 foot-pounds, that's just over 200 Newton meters. The car will now go over to the alignment side, because we're going to be taking a little look up front at the camber plates and potentially adjusting it, set it up to be a touch more aggressive when out on track, which is going to be kind of good fun. I'm looking forward to that part of this. Up onto the alignment machine we go, looking very low at the back there with the exhaust and the diffuser, and we will touch on how low the car is in a bit further on in this update, but now ready to start working on things. This is all very clever with the various devices that attach basically onto the wheels and tyres to enable it all to be synced up together. Just like that. We need to take a look at this GT500 then, that belongs to Joe. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good, thanks for coming along. Thanks for bringing this out, because you have quite a few extra parts on this car.
Yeah,
which are definitely going to grab my attention. Let's talk carbon fibre. Obviously, we both have track pack GT500s. We love carbon fibre, as well as the wheels and wing. You've got side skirts, the extra part, the front splitter wickers.
Yeah. All of these parts come from a company called Anderson Composites, who you know really well.
I do. I had their side fenders on my Focus RS, on the red RS. Yep.
I work with them quite a bit. I had some of their stuff on my 350R, and they're amazing people. So I have their splitter wickers.
Yeah, which are normally just the matte plastic.
They're normally
like the
just black
splitter.
plastic like this.
Oh, you got the front grille as well.
I got the front grille insert.
See, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Same with the GT500 embossing.
Yeah, this looks really good with a double layer of paint protection film.
Yeah, you don't want to get that damaged. It's a very vulnerable part of mine. The front of mine is looking a little bit like it's had a touch of beating as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and even
We got the hood vent.
I love that carbon weave. As much carbon as possible on these things. Mirror caps.
These aren't real carbon.
That's oh yeah,
actually,
you can see from the weave.
Yeah, but hopefully we will be getting the real carbon ones soon.
We like the sound of that. We like the sound of that a lot. What else do we have going on? Anything around the back?
I've got carbon tips on the Borla exhaust.
You see, I thought the stock ones were beefy. These are
Yeah.
these are a bit mad. They look like the Ford GT exhaust tips. The original factory that mine had before I changed them, but they had these fins, these blades.
Yeah, that's right, they do, yeah.
Don't really know how to describe it. Can we take a listen to it? Do you mind starting it up? Just see how noticeably louder this is, having heard mine, albeit indoors, as this starts on up. Yeah, I mean, that's just a normal start without even opening it up to the full noisy track display.
Should we put it into open?
That's not even open yet.
No.
Okay, go on then. It's just loud. Yeah, I thought mine was loud.
You know, it's strange. It's not that much louder in normal driving.
It's a different sound.
When you get on the wide open throttle, it's a little bit more race car-y.
Yeah,
Just
rawer.
a little bit more crackly, a little bit more raw.
Yeah, for sure. And your wing is sitting higher as well.
Yes.
Your wing has different mounts.
Contacted a friend of mine who works at Multimatic, and they sent me the actual GT4 wing mounts from the GT4 race car.
Okay.
And they actually bolt in exactly the same way as the OEM mounts do. And
So you get the stock wing, but on the taller mount,
exactly.
it's sitting in a greater angle of attack as well.
It's actually sitting in exactly, it worked out really well because it will only fit in 2 of the holes here.
Okay.
So it's actually not.
It's in the track position, isn't it?
It's actually in the track position.
Whereas mine is currently sitting in the,
Yours is in the
stock road
save
position.
a couple of bits of gallons of fuel.
And it doesn't really help much either.
No, not really. Yeah, it actually it comfortably sits in exactly the same angle as it would be when you put your car in the track.
Yeah.
In the track mode.
Okay, that's good to know. I love it.
Sits a little bit higher.
Just even more mean than an already mean GT500, but
yeah,
all the extra carbon, the side skirts and the goodies are all very...
Side skirts as well are from Anderson Composites, of course.
They're all...
We got these lovely wheels from factory.
Yeah, it all ties in exactly, doesn't it? It's the same weave. It looks identical.
It works perfectly. The Anderson, the quality of their carbon is so good, and it just matches the factory carbon perfectly.
And this is blue paint with satin PPF?
Yeah, it's Ford Performance Blue.
Okay, just with the satin PPF over the top.
PPF over the top.
Amazing. Well, it looks fantastic, and it sounds fantastic. Thanks for showing us around.
You're welcome. Oh, and I have your matching steering wheel.
Oh, do you? Didn't get that far.
Carbon-tastic.
Ah, perfect. Carbon wheel, yeah, looks nice. With the 12 o'clock stripe that matches with the interior colour as well. Very cool. Another thing to take a quick look at here, the black lug nuts. Mine have silver lug nuts. These look so much better not having that contrast with the carbon fibre. I probably need to get a set of those. These are the results then from the current status of my setup. And this is what the car should have, the default setup for track or street from factory.
Yeah.
So we have front left minus 1.3, minus 1.6 camber, whereas it should be, well, minus 1.06 for street, minus 2.25 for track, and then the rear camber minus 2.2 for track, minus 1.7 for street, and here we have minus 1.4, minus 1.1. So we have less camber on the rears than the street setup, and we have somewhere in the middle on the front, which is slightly funny. So now we need to decide exactly what we're going to go for. Joe's car is coming inside then, because we're going to be doing a little bit of work with the camber plates underneath the hood that you can adjust, so they're going to take a look at that. Meanwhile, mine over here, if we come on through, is currently all in a little bit of disassembly, because you can take out the struts here, adjust the camber plates up top, and then ultimately change the angle of attack. So we're going to set it up somewhere in between street and track. The rear, I think, will go up to about 1.8, 1.9, the front up to around 1.7 negative degrees. Obviously we've got some toe out at the front, toe in at the rear to set this up for a little bit more of an attacking stance and driving style as well. The guys have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to adjust the camber plates inside the engine bay up front to set up the front. Now it's a case of doing another alignment test to see whether the measurements are all correct and to get the final results. This is when the car comes forward so that the device can start reading exactly where all of the wheels are. You can see it needs to go a touch further forward until all of the arrows are in the green, and then we'll start to get some readings out of it as to exactly how the alignment is now set up. It's very clever how all of this works using the detectors up here. all in sync to gather a reading. The guys have been cracking on, but all is now complete. It turns out to be quite the involving process to take out the pins up front to get all of this set up, but all is now done so, and we've got the readouts here. Ignore some of the before figures, but you can see we've got minus 1.8, 1.9 of camber up front. We've got 0.1 of toe out at the front. Then for the rear, we've got toe in by 0.3 and minus 1.9 degrees of camber, which is a slightly more track orientated setup, but still appropriate for the street, because this car will do a lot more street miles as well, now with the new tyres fitted at the back, which I suppose means it is time to pull it on out, and a few more things that I'd like to update you on with the car so far. Basically a cold start as it fires back up. So I think that's going to come off, and Joe's car's probably going to go on and have some bits and pieces done as well, actually, while we're here. Fast forward, and you actually joined me the next afternoon. It got very late last night. We were completely exhausted, and I wanted to give you a bit more of an update about a couple of other things to do with this car, having now driven it quite so many miles, and one of those was to do with the front end of it and how low it is to the ground. Of course, there is no lift system here, so I was a little bit anxious what would happen to the front splitters. Were we going to end up scraping these a lot? Given they sit, that's pretty low to the ground overall. I think in 6,000 miles, it's probably touched maybe 5 or 6 times. We did get to look under it. There are a few very light scratches. These edge pieces, the splitter wickers, have caught 1 or 2 times, but these are just cheap plastic. They're super easy to replace, and thankfully absolutely nothing is damaged. That's part and parcel of taking a car off on a long journey. Paintwork wise, obviously with the Suntech Reaction PPF that we installed with the altered black stripes and the red pinstripes, it is immaculate. No damage to anything, no cracked windscreens, no stone chips that have gone through anywhere on the PPF, which for doing quite so many miles is actually quite an achievement. These things happen, especially when you're out on the road. Likewise, carbon wheels, all in perfect shape, thankfully. The Magnaride suspension without the transport blocks, a very comfortable ride. In fact, I guess being an American muscle car, it does have that typical, slightly softer ride, which is exactly what you want on a road trip. It's a practical car, massive amount of luggage space. In fact, inside, the seats are also very comfortable for these purposes. This has been brilliant. Loaded up with loads and loads of cup holders and places to stick water bottles and snacks and whatever it might be. We've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay to use Waze. We've got the space in the rear, obviously track pack with the seat delete. It's a bit of a fiddle to get back there because there's no lever just here to pull it forward. You need to take the seatbelt off with that, which is a bit fiddly as well. Fold the lever down there to pull the seat forwards, but then you can use that storage area for space in addition to what we have back there in the trunk. But inside, well equipped, lots of tech, comfortable, can't complain. That's cool. Right overhead. This car though, from the front, I think it looks like an absolute beast. The aggression and front end of the GT500 is mega. I've taken a lot of photos from the front angle. When you come towards the rear, it is very standard Mustang-esque, other than the fact there's a massive wing sitting on top of the rear deck lid, and obviously the gigantic quad exhaust tailpipes down towards the back, but it's certainly the front angle of this car that really and truly stands out to me. But in these miles, comfortable ride, so many memories already along the way, from going on to Daytona Beach, up to Georgia, to visit Ed to collect his 599, a pouring evening, lots and lots of rain, won't forget that one. Then where do we go? We headed across through Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, in towards Texas. We took this car, did some drag racing with Hennessy. We went to Gas Monkey Garage. We visited Tyler Hooby's garage. We came across via the Stradman, did the dry lake bed with it, and then all the way through Las Vegas, here to California. These memories are what makes a car like this quite so special. I will forever remember that tour that I did with this car, and hopefully it's not even going to be the end of what we do with this car in the US before the time does come to take it back to Europe. I've seen a lot of people ask me if I'll ever do any substantial modifications to the car, and to be completely honest, knowing that I do want to ship it over, go through the IVA, the individual vehicle approval process in the UK, I just want to keep it stock to make that process a little bit smoother, and also the fact that they don't sell them in Europe, so there's no technical warranty on the car when I get it over to Europe, so it's better to just have it all running as it is, you know, factory spec, hopefully no problems down the line. It's my first time trying this kind of thing, moving a car from one continent permanently to another continent. It would be quite funny to get it back home, get it registered on a UK tag, UK number plate, and then eventually in the future bring it back out here for a trip on UK license plates. That would be really, really quite entertaining. For now, we have the Florida plates over here in California, the end of the mega journey that we've done, which well, was quite something. And absolutely, the car has not skipped a beat. I mean, you'd expect it not to skip a beat, but everything has been flawless. It's done exactly what I hoped it was going to do. Never, like I said, never a single issue with it, other than just being an enjoyable drive, a noisy drive, a pretty sideways drive, and a drive that required some new rear tyres at the end. What's in store for now, though, is, well, a few more miles still to be done on this part, on the west coast of this adventure, before it goes back towards the east. Of course, a track outing, hence doing the alignment with FSE LA, but a big thanks to them for getting the tyres changed over and generally having a little look around the car as well, and making sure all is well. I think that's more or less it, though, for my 6,000 mile update in not very long with the Shelby GT500 track pack that I'm enjoying an awful lot, even if it means I am going to be getting through a lot of tyres going forwards. I suspect that's going to be the biggest problem with this car. For now, though, thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support as always. That's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!